Hello everybody, and welcome back to Insider's Guide. Today we'll be talking about one of the best beginner mountains in the state of Colorado, Beaver Creek. Aside from learning, Beaver Creek offers a great variety of terrain to keep everyone entertained, which we'll get into in this episode of Insider's Guide. Today, we'll start with Beaver Creek Mountain. So with that, let's begin Part A of an Insider's Guide to Ski Resorts, Beaver Creek. We'll start right here in the main based area of Beaver Creek. Beaver Creek has a ton of on-mountain real estate and other parking lots, so you might find yourself starting your day at the main base, Elkhorn, Lower BC, Arrowbahn, or even Bachelor Gulch. On the left here are the Highlands chairlifts and the Hay Meadow Gondola. These serve a nice little bunny hill here. The gondola can be quite annoying as you have to take your skis off after every lap, so I would recommend lapping Highlands if you can, as it is also much less busy than Hay Meadow. The main base here has two main lifts out of it, the Centennial Express and the Strawberry Park Express Quad. For now, we'll focus on Centennial. Centennial is a telemix, or a chondola in layman's terms, which means it has both chairs and gondolas. Centennial has 5 chairs per every gondola cabin, so typically, the line for the chair moves faster. The gondola cabins are nice for at the end of the day, because all the runs that Centennial serves are very long. If you're tired at the end of the day, taking the gondola cabins down from Spruce Saddle is never a bad idea, especially since the main runs in the pod get very busy and icy in late afternoon. Centennial can get backed up in the morning, as it is the primary out-of-base lift, but in the afternoon, it is quite nice to lap. Centennial, the main black under the chondola, is groomed, while the rest of these blacks are your traditional mogul runs. Dally and Cinch, the two greens to get back to base, are long roads that I try to avoid, especially Cinch, which is super busy. Gold Dust is the most popular run in the Centennial pod. It is super wide, but is also really steep for a blue in a couple of spots. It can be nice in the morning, but in the afternoon when everyone is heading off the mountain, it is busier than I-70 on a Saturday morning. This also causes it to get extremely icy. To avoid the crowd in the afternoon, you can take the upper Latigo, cut across on Dally, and then take one of these side runs. Latigo itself isn't as busy as Gold Dust, but it is still fairly crowded and icy. Runs such as Essay, Bear Trap, and 1876 are much nicer groomers. At the top of Centennial, you can take the Cinch Express. Cinch gets pretty busy, so I avoid lapping it as Red Buffalo and Rose Bowl are much less busy and offer better terrain. If you intend to head to Red Buffalo but Cinch has a really long line, heading down to Rose Bowl via Stone Creek Meadows or Cinch and Bridle is never a bad option. This Rose Bowl pod is, for whatever reason, often overlooked, meaning its lifts don't get too terribly long of lines. This pod has a couple of good, empty black mogul runs, and these extremely short and steep glades on the boundary here. The one blue in the pod, Stone Creek Meadows, is very open and bowl-like. It's not incredibly steep, and often has a groomed strip right down the middle. It's a nice, easier blue in general, although the ungroomed parts do tend to get very crusty very quickly. The Red Buffalo pod offers a ton of these easy green cruisers. The area is a major part of what makes Beaver Creek my favorite mountain for beginners in the state. There are a lot of these little kids areas in the trees with little obstacles and props set up. To get back from Red Buffalo, you'll take the Cinch around here. Make sure you follow this route, because if you only ski greens, you're not going to like Centennial and Sheephorn. Those two blacks, because they're both normally groomed, are extremely icy. You'll see that icy is a theme among a lot of Beaver Creek's runs. The final lift on Beaver Creek Mountain is the Birds of Prey Express, to the looker's right of Centennial. Birds of Prey isn't very busy, similarly to Red Buffalo and Rose Bowl. Birds of Prey accesses some of these steep mogul double blacks, along with Golden Eagle. Golden Eagle is the infamous Bird of Prey World Cup downhill course. Because it is a race venue, it isn't always open to the public, but if it is, I would highly recommend trying it. As far as steep groomers go, Golden Eagle is about as good as you can get. Redtail, this blue from the top of Centennial, is extremely steep, busy, and icy for a blue. I try to avoid it by any means possible. Between Birds of Prey and Centennial are Harrier, which is a much less busy groomer, and a bunch of shorter, shallower mogul runs. However, these all flow onto the stretch of Lower Daly, which can be quite flat, so try to get up some good speed at the bottoms. To the looker's right of Birds of Prey is the Grouse Mountain Express. Grouse Mountain offers a bunch of steep mogul blocks. There's nothing too crazy special, although I would advise getting towards the edges rather than the center, so I like Bald Eagle a lot more than, say, Raven Ridge. Royal Elk also offers some really long and steep tree skiing. The lift gets busy in pulses, so when it's busy, I'll take a lap on Birds of Prey, and by the time I get back, Grouse's line has typically significantly abated. Larkspur is the final lift in the mid-mountain trio. If you get that reference, comment what it means down below and I'll pin you. These 3 single blacks are short little mogul runs that require quite the traverse across the top of the ridge. They're honestly not worth the hike they require. Larkspur is very open. There's a groomed strip down the middle, the so-called Larkspur Run, that is pretty steep. On the skier's left is a more open space that isn't groomed. That's this Yarrow Run. 3 Tree gets skied off pretty early. I find that the other glades around the mountain generally have better snow than 3 Tree. That about wraps it up for Part A. Go check out Part B after this so you know everything there is to know about the other half of Beaver Creek. As always, please leave any questions down below. Thank you all so much for watching. All my love. I'm out.